Okay, good evening. Good evening. No one is responding. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, only 7 people are there. Okay, let others join. Okay, we will start the class. And okay, today onwards some of the most important lecture which are highly related to the prelims and mains. So start making notes also. This is the fundamental we are going to learn. Already we have learned some of the topics related to geography, and some topics we heard already related to the basics about the history, the timeline and all. The actual history starts now itself. Okay, because here I'm writing some points here before I enter into the NCERT topics. Some overview I wanted to give about the history. Okay, so history we can divide or classify it into prehistory. This one already I said in the very early classes is a prehistory and proto history and another one we can call it the actual history. So these are all our convention. We have taken this classification. Okay. So prehistory in the sense the history without having any written evidence. Simply we can say history without written evidence. Okay, so that is prehistory. So without written evidence means, so what would be the evidence like stone, cave painting? So these are all the evidence. So there is no written evidence. That is prehistory. So proto history, they had written evidence. But cannot decipher or cannot decode. Okay, so this is example. For this example is Harappan civilization. Then actual history we can classify into three. Along with this Harappan, the ancient, medieval, and modern. Okay, this is what all about we have to learn in the history. So coming to the prehistory period, again the prehistory period we can classify this prehistory into three. Okay, so there's a Paleolithic or Paleolithic age. Okay, and this one already we discussed in the first class, the history introduction. So Paleolithic age is around the 5 lakh to around 50,000 BCE. Okay, around 50,000 BC. So this paleo means already I said paleo means old. Paleo means old. Lithic means stone. Because the Stone Age. The Paleolithic, old Stone Age period or old Stone Age. Okay. Again, we can classify this Paleolithic into 3. Okay. One is the lower Paleolithic and middle. Then upper. Okay, so lower Paleolithic, we can the time duration they have fixed around here one small correction. This is 10,000 up to, because so 5 lakh to 50,000 is 50,000 BCE. Lower Paleolithic, and middle Paleolithic around 50,000 BCE to 40,000 BCE, and the upper Paleolithic from around 40,000 BCE to 10,000. Is a time period. So during this period, so the Homo sapiens were arrived. Homo sapiens. Okay, and the upper and lower Paleolithic time, they were Homo erectus. And during this period, Homo so அப்படின்னா என்னன்னா ஹியூமன் பீயிங் வந்து அப்பதான் எழுந்துச்சு நடக்க ஆரம்பிச்சார். 2 legsல நடக்க ஆரம்பிச்சது ஹோமோ எரெக்டஸ். அதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு லேக்ஸ் ஆஃப் இயர்ஸ் கழிச்சு த ஹோமோ சேப்பியன்ஸ் அரௌண்ட் த ஏப், ஒரு குரங்கு இனத்துல இருந்து கம்ப்ளீட்டா கோக்னிட்டிவ் ஸ்கில் டெவலப் ஆகி வந்த ஒரு இனம் தான் ஹோமோ சேப்பியன்ஸ் அரௌண்ட் 10,000 பிஃபோர் காமன் எரா. Okay, so in the 10,000 before common era, the civilization starts here. Exact civilization in the Chalcolithic age. Okay, then Bronze age, then Harappan civilization, like that. Okay, so around 10,000 BC, the other civilization all over the world it starts. Okay, here exact in these time scale I have written here related to India. Okay, so now one more classification also we can do in the around 10,000 BCE. The Mesolithic and Neolithic. Okay, so Mesolithic time scale we can fix the around 6,000 10,000 BC to around 6,000 BC. Okay, and the Neolithic time scale again 6,000 BC to around 1,000 BC. Okay, so after that, the Harappan and other civilizations comes around in India and all over the other world. Okay, so now from here. So during this period, always the history in the NCERT or other textbook, the history always start from the Paleolithic or Harappan civilization, which means it used to be started from the northwest. Used to start from northwest of India. So there will be the question will arise to the normally enna appadina. So what had happened in the South India? So South India Paleolithic period la okay, during the Paleolithic period or Neolithic period or during the Harappan civilization, era the civilization were there or not? This is the one question will arise. Okay, so so during those period, especially in South India, some sites are there, Adirapakam or Adirapakam as a Paleolithic in near to Chennai. In one place is there, Adirapakam. We will study it separately. Adirapakam, and one cave we will study in the offline class, a Bimbetka cave. You might have studied in the schools also. It is in MP, Bimbetka cave, where cave paintings were there. Okay, so these are the various evidence which were collected from these sites. Those evidence were belongs to the Homo erectus site period, like 5 lakh year before. Okay, and so now we keep on talks about civilization here. So civilization always starts around the river. Okay, civilization always start around the river. Reason சொல்ல முடியுமா? Very simple question I'm asking. Why always the civilization starts around the river? கொஞ்சம் பேசலாமே. எதுக்கு எல்லா civilization, you take all other civilization also, Egyptian civilization or Mesopotamia civilization, then Indus Valley civilization or Purani civilization, Keeladi civilization, எல்லாமே Vaigai civilization, all
fertile soil.
One is because of the fertile land or fertile soil. Okay, good. Another reason?
To practice agriculture.
Obviously, fertile soil used for the agriculture. Then fresh water, correct? Okay, if it is salty water, then it go be land and it could not be useful for the agriculture purpose also. Then easy for transportation, for goods and people movement also. So waterways. Okay, so in conclusion, all the ancient civilization developed on the bank of the river. So some of the oldest, some of the civilization we can mention, some of the major civilizations. So one is Mesopotamia civilization. இதுக்கு மீனிங் நேரமே சொன்ன ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? மீசோனா என்ன? Potamia or Potamos in மீசோனா என்ன ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? Civilization flourished between two rivers. மீசோனா என்ன மீனிங் சொன்ன? மீசோல நிறைய பொருள் வாங்கி, மீசோ வெப்சைட் இருக்குல்ல, ஸோ பிரைஸ் அப்பராவும் இருக்காது, லோவரா இருக்காது, மிடில் இருக்கும். ஸோ மீசோ மீன்ஸ் மிடிலா. ஈவன் இங்கேயும் சொன்னேன், மீசோலித்திக். மீசோ மீன்ஸ் மிடில், லித்திக் மீன்ஸ் ஸ்டோன், நியோ மீன்ஸ் நியூ, லித்திக் மீன்ஸ் ஸ்டோன், paleo means old. Okay, so meso means middle, and Potamia may, or in exact values, Potamos, which means river. So the Mesopotamia civilization took place between two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. Okay, this is in the modern day Iraq. Modern day Iraq, which comprises of Kuwait, Turkey, and Syria. Turkey and Syria. This one. So the time scale, if you want, the Mesopotamia civilization flourished around 3500 BC to around 2000 BC. Okay, and second major civilization, it's our Indus Valley civilization, IVC. Indus Valley civilization, and this is around the Indus River. So its time scale is 3300 to 1900 BC. And third major civilization is the Egyptian civilization. It's the Nile River. Okay, it's the time period around 3100 to 1100 BC. And at last, the latest civilization, the Chinese civilization, that flourished across the Yellow River. So 1700 BC to 1100 or 100, and some book they have mentioned 1100 BCE. The scales are not exactly the exact scales, sir. All BCs are before Common Era. So these are the overall about the civilization. So in this chapter, the upcoming chapter in the 6th standard will talks about a new civilization called Indus Sarasvati civilization. Indus civilization. Okay, but Sarasvati river is not exist now, but it has been traced of it has been traced, and the evidence in the Rig Veda also. So we'll talk about the Vedic age after the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, and in the Indus Sarasvati civilization, also called IVC civilization and Harappan civilization. So various names are there. Okay, historians are used to call with the different names. Okay, so these are the general introduction. So now we will enter into the school book. This is visible now. I have changed the page. The beginning of Indian civilization. As usual, they got started with a quote with one archaeologist, B.B. Lal. Okay, actually his actual name is Braj Bashi Lal. He's from UP, and he was the Director General of Archaeological Survey India in between 1968 to 1972. He was the Director General of Archaeological Survey of India. Okay, he gave one nice statement about our Indian civilization. The most ancient civilizations of India, known variously as the Harappa, Indus, or Indus Sarasvati civilization. That which means the three, you can call it in any name, but there is a meaning. Why we are calling the civilization as a Indus Valley civilization? There is a meaning. Why we called the same civilization as a Harappan civilization, also having the meaning. And why it has been called as the Indus Sarasvati civilization, also having meaning is there. Okay, it's not somebody called either you called it Harappan or Indus Sarasvati civilization, not like that. I will explain why this entire civilization is being called in different name. Okay, it was indeed remarkable in many ways. It showed how a well-balanced community lives. It was showed how well-balanced community lives, in which the difference between the rich and the poor are not glaring. Not glaring is not that much visible. Okay, and in essence, the Harappan societal scenario was not that of exploitation, but of mutual accommodation. So this is what actually it is needed nowadays. One community should not exploit another community. Instead, the mutual accommodation, mutual development, inclusive development must be needed. This is what seriously needed in the current scenario or current situation in India. That is why we said our present must be flourished through by knowing our past. This was the similar quote was already we studied in the history introduction class. Okay, so what is the need or significance of knowing the past? Then only we can build our present and future better than the our future with the help of the past life. This is what I'm saying. So coming to the subject, so what is civilization? These are all very basic definition has been given. You know very well. Okay, if you want to call a community or society as a civilized community or civilized nation, then the following things must be there. Okay, it must have government and administration. இப்போ இதுல இன்னொரு பாயிண்ட் இருக்கு. எதுக்கு government is needed? Why government is needed? Why better or good governance or good administration needed? எதுக்கு அப்படின்னா to manage a more complex society and its many activities. Okay, if the society is very single, and if the society is having a very unique activity, then it does not need a form of government. Only the managing things is sufficient. Things are sufficient. But if the society is having highly complex with so many caste and religion, okay, language, everything, then to manage those things, those complex society in a peaceful way, and to manage all their activities in a amicable way, the government is needed or better administration needed. So if it is there, then the community we can call it as a civilized society. One. Second one, it should be the urbanism must be there. Urbanism means well-planned cities. That is town planning, and well-planned city with a better drainage. With a better drainage system. Okay, and a variety of crops, including the management of raw materials such as stone, metal, and production of finished goods, ornaments, and tools. Okay, a variety of craft system must be there. Then trade must be internal and external, and some form of writing should be there. Okay, and the cultural ideas about the life and world, they should express their cultural through art, architecture, literature, and social custom. These are all. Then a productive agriculture. So if these are all there in a particular community or a particular society, then we can call it as a civilization. This is what the introduction has been given to the civilization. Then so now already this one already said the civilization began at different times in different parts of the world in the region known as Mesopotamia. Okay, the modern Iraq and Syria. It happens around 6,000 years ago. I said 3,300. Here mentioned 6,600 years. This is means the beginning. In any civilization, you can classify into three: early, mature, and later. The later is declining stage. So early means the beginning civilization. Okay, so beginning you can say you can consider the 6,000 years ago, and the civilization ends in Egypt. Okay, the Egyptian civilization, and the few years later, and you will learn about these. Okay, now here they have mentioned some of the diagram. Indus Sarasvati civilization. then beginning of Egyptian civilization and beginning of Mesopotamian civilization. Okay, so there already I have mentioned around 3000, the 500 BC to 2000 BCE, and Egyptian civilization just actually Egyptian civilization must be there. Okay, some correction, but I will check it. With some book, it is mentioned 3100 BC to 1100, because our Indus Valley civilization before that beginning, but it depends upon the are they mentioning the mature stage or early civilization, because of that little time scale variation of here they have mentioned first Mesopotamia, then Egyptian, then they have come across the Sarasvati civilization. Okay, and mature point of view first Mesopotamia civilization, then go for the then Indus Valley, then Egyptian civilization, then Chinese civilization. Okay, so for more clarification, in the old NCERT it is mentioned very clearly, and in Tamil Nadu history book also, adula exact year we can note it down from those books. Okay, so now from village to city. So before one civilization, the urban civilization flourished, and in the beginning it would be the rural civilization. This is what the vast plain of the Punjab today, in this area where they have mentioned today, developed India and Pakistan and Sindh, were watered by Indus River and its tributaries. Yesterday we the last class we have studied about the 7 tributaries of the Indus. Okay, and with the Sanskrit name also. So this made those plain fertile. That is what I said, which was helpful for the agriculture. And little further, after a few millennia ago, another river, that is Sarasvati, used to flow from the foothills of Himalaya through Haryana, Punjab, part of Rajasthan and Gujarat, around in the whole region around 3500 BCE. Then villages started to grow in the town, and once it became the towns, then trade started increasing, and trade took place between the exchange of goods, barter system, and those towns again further grows into cities. This transition happens around 2600 BC. This is what I said, matured Harappan civilization, matured Harappan civilization, 2600 to 1900. So archaeologists gave this civilization several names: Indus Harappan, Indus Sarasvati, or Sindh Sarasvati. Okay, we will use all these terms. Its inhabitants are called Harappans. Yeah, it is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Okay, now if you are talking about the early stage of the Harappan civilization, and here one reason they have given, why are the inhabitants of this civilization called Harappan? ஏன் வந்து மொத்த ஏரியாவையும் Harappan civilization சொல்றோம் அப்படின்னா, this is simply because the city of Harappa today in the Pakistan, அது இப்ப எங்க இருக்குன்னா பாகிஸ்தானோட பஞ்சாப் ஏரியாவில் இருக்குது. First civilization was to be found or excavated around 1922-21. தயாராம் ஷானிங் இன்னும் ஒரு ஆர்கியாலஜிஸ்ட், அவர் தான் முதல்ல இந்த ஹரப்பான் சிவிலைசேஷனை பத்தி மொத்தமே எக்ஸ்கவேட் பண்ணியிருப்பாரு. So as it was the first discovered in the entire region, and that civilization culture was similar to all other region wherever it has been found. அதனால ஒரே முதல் இடத்துல கண்டுபிடிச்ச கல்ச்சர் எங்கெங்கெல்லாம் சிமிலாரிட்டி இருந்தோ அதனால they called it Harappan civilization. ஏன் அப்படின்னா why we are not calling IVC, எதனால IVC நாம கூப்பிடல அப்படின்னா, the civilization not only confined towards the Indus River. Indus River தாண்டி the civilization were grown, especially இங்க டெல்லிக்கு மேல ஹரியானா வரைக்கும், இங்க ராஜஸ்தான் கீழே குஜராத் வரைக்கும், அங்க மேல இன்னும் போனா கோட்டிஜி அம்ரின்னு இங்க பாகிஸ்தான் அங்க. So civilization spread across around 6 lakhs square kilometer வரைக்கும் பரவி இருந்து. ஓகே, ஸோ அதனால அண்ட் என்டையர் சிவிலைசேஷன் கல்ச்சர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எந்த சிட்டி எக்ஸ்கவேட் பண்ணாங்களோ ஹராப்பான், அந்த ஹராப்பான் சிட்டியோட ஒத்து போனதுனால, because of the similarities with the Harappan, they called the entire region as a Harappan civilization. They did not call the entire region as a IVC civilization. இப்போ அடுத்து why they are called Sindhu Sarasvati or Indus Sarasvati? And Sarasvati river also exists during those period of time, especially the Pleistocene period. Okay, so there are civilization enga Haryana, again the current Rajasthan and Gujarat varaikku irundu. So their culture also similar to Harappan civilization, but later it was dried up, and which was already mentioned in the Rig Veda also. So because of the non-existence of Sarasvati civilization, they did not call it and did not generalize the entire civilization as a Sarasvati civilization. Idana difference. Edanala 3 different names we can call and we should not call. But at last, the final conclusion to call the entire region is Harappan civilization. Edha vachina the culture was similar to the Harappa place. Okay, this is one. Nalla therinjiko. Ena in the UPSC they can ask the questions with the justification of why the entire civilization has been generalized as Harappan civilization. Some other reason edukalam. Okay, but the main reason is the similar culture was existed in the other region. That is why it has been called as Harappan civilization. And look this map, the most important map. Somewhat you have to read or memorize anyhow. Already 2-3 times the questions have been asked based on this map. Okay, this one already we know, the Indus range, hill range, and Himalaya range we know, and Sulaiman range in the Afghanistan region. Okay, here question how they can frame means one method of framing the question match the following, or which of the pairs are correctly matched, which of the pairs are incorrectly matched, like that they can ask. In third way of asking question, which of the Indus Sarasvati civilization or Harappan civilizations are in India or not in India. The fourth way of asking question, they can give some of the site, and which are among the following sites or above the sites are not Harappan sites. So many ways they can put up with these factual things. Okay, so river also already said you should know top to bottom the tributaries. First Jhelum, okay, then Chenab, then Ravi, okay, then Satluj. So that also, then Bias, that also you must. And every river you must know the Sanskrit name. That already in the last class we have I have written. Then what are the main cities are there which are in around the Sarasvati river and near to Sarasvati river and near to Indus river. So here Ganvariwala, Karanpura, Birana, Farmana, Rakigari, Banwali, Kalibangan, okay, and Manda, then Dabakar Court, then Harappa, then Mohenjo-daro, Lakhanjo-daro, Chunhu-daro, Palakot, then in the Dolvira, Lothal, Dolorothal. So these are the most important sites. Individually we will learn. Okay, and this is the Aravalli range. I said na, one of the oldest mountain. Okay, and a river Benas, then Nageshwar. Okay, so study the map. Already I said, எங்கெங்கெல்லாம் மேப் வருதோ மேப் ஒரு 10 physical map and political map ஒரு 10 to 20 blank map வந்து வாங்கி வச்சுட்டு immediately அதுலயே நீ ரெடி பண்ணி வச்சிரு. Anyway once again you have to do when you are going to appear prelims once again அந்த டைம் இந்த ப்ரிப்பரேஷன் வேலை கொஞ்சம் குறையும். That is why I'm டைம் எடுத்து NCERT முடிக்கிறதுக்காக தான் என்ன periodically or making the class in a regular day. ஓகே, அதனால கொஞ்சம் இப்போ உடனே முடிச்சிருங்க. Once your regular classes started in the academic schedule, it is difficult to take notes. So now some of the important cities in the marked in the அது சொன்னதுதான். இதுல பாத்துக்கோ, ஹராப்பான் சிட்டி அண்ட் மாடர்ன் ஸ்டேட் என்ன, டோல்வேரா எங்கெங்க இருக்குதுன்னு. Then some Sarasvati river, some important point has been given about Sarasvati river. So Indus or Sindhu and the 5 main tributaries important cities grows along the river such as Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, but there are also so many cities along the Sarasvati river. Today goes by the name Gagar in India and Hagra in Pakistan. So Hagra river now it is being called, and this river is now the seasonal, okay, seasonal na whenever rainy season is there, water will be there. Okay, the Sarasvati river is first mentioned in the Rig Veda, an ancient collection of the prayers which is read about in this text. Sarasvati is worshipped, both a goddess and a river flowing from the mountain to the sea. Okay, so later text describes the river as drying up and eventually disappearing. Okay, some more theories are there, how a river is disappearing, how a river is reappearing. So some theories are there that we will study in the drainage system. Then town planning. I said no, the civilization means in the beginning they said that a well planned developed city must be there. So town planning, the town planning is the one of the main feature of the Harappa civilization. So Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, now in Pakistan, after the partition, were the first 2 cities of this civilization to be discovered. Their identification goes back to 1924. Okay, and later on other major cities, either Dolvera in Gujarat, Rakhigari in Haryana, Ganbariwala in the Cholistan desert of Pakistan, and hundreds of small cities such as Lothal in Gujarat. இதெல்லாம் திருப்பி we will study, repeatedly we will study, and important points about each cities we will study later. So now you just to understand from where these cities are, try to locate where these cities are there. Dolvera means immediately you should say it is in Gujarat. Lothal, it is in Gujarat. Rakhigari in Haryana. Okay, and Harappa, Mohenjo-daro both are in Pakistan. Okay, and some tabular form also we will provide what are the important features or significance of these cities, and one more table we will provide in the offline class, in which year the major cities were found. For example, Harappa was found in the year 1921. Okay, and what is the meaning of Harappa, what is the meaning of Mohenjo-daro, Kalibangan, what is the meaning? Okay, and which archaeologist found or excavated the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro? Okay, and recently we talks about B.B. Lal. Okay, so B.B. Lal is one of the important archaeologists who excavated the Kalibangan. Okay, and B.B. Lal along with B.K. Thapar. So both gave their contribution to excavate the Kalibangan. Okay, so Kali means Kala, it's black, and Banga means Valayal solonla bangles. Okay, so black bangles were excavated from those site. That is why they called it named the Kalibangan. It is in Rajasthan side. Okay, so these are the tabulation will be provided to easy to memorize. So now it is interesting to note that the Sarasvati basin includes not only 2 major cities, Rakhigari and Ganbariwala, but also several small ones, Farmana in Haryana, Kalibangan in Rajasthan. Okay, and a few towns, Birana and Banawali, both in Haryana. Okay, so எல்லாத்தையுமே தனித்தனியா ஒரு ஹைஃபன் போட்டு note down. The larger Harappan cities were built in according to the precise plan. That is a well-developed plan. They had wide streets, some of the features, which were often oriented to the cardinal direction. Most cities seem to have been surrounded by fortification. Fortification, here they have given the meaning. A massive wall surrounding a settlement or city, generally for protective purpose. Okay, fortification, and had two distinct part. அதாவது ரெண்டு விதமான டவுன் இருந்து. This will also we will study in the offline class. One is upper town and lower town. Okay, upper townல எல்லாம் என்ன இருக்கும்னா upper town வந்து only for the official building and the elite people or rich people were staying there. And lower town is a common people were lived. This is what how they have separated the entire city. And in the beginning introduction he said no, both were not exploited each other. Okay, so both were constructed in the either of the way. Okay, the thousands of villages were contributing or feeding to the upper city people. This is what we will read in the later pages. And some large buildings seems to have been used for collective purpose. For instance, warehouses where goods to be transported and stored, individual houses of various sizes. Okay, and interestingly, the quality of construction was the same for small and big house. All those buildings were generally made of bricks. Okay, some places burned bricks, some places packed bricks. In detail you will study. And the purpose of some of the structures remain a matter of debate. This is the case of famous Great Path. In the Mohenjo-daro means a Great Path and Dancing Girl. Okay, and the Great Path one is it's a matter of debate. எதுக்கு அப்படின்னா இது என்ன பர்பஸ்க்காக கட்டினது? Based on the some of the evidence, some historians say it is the ritual purpose. அதாவது நம்ம இந்த தெப்பக்குளம்னு சொல்லுவோம்ல, the ritual path or ritual purpose. Some historians say common people are having the common place to take bath, and in the around the gate path there was a room to dress changing rooms, and the bituminous coating were there in the inside the walls to avoid the leakages, and it has been measured 12 to 7 meters. Okay, and waterproofing materials like natural bitumen and Thor. Okay, and applied top of the light bricks, they have it has been applied to avoid the leakages, and the tank. And so this is the street, wide street of Kalibangan, and the lower town area. This one, this is the upper town and lower town, and the housing area in the Dolavera. This is a figure. Which perpendicular street like, and three distinct zone of this diagram. And this is the Great Path, this one with a step to this, and there is a hole to release the water, and bituminous coating in the bottom of the tank, and these tanks were surrounded by small rooms, and there was a drain in the one corner of the tank to empty it, and from time to time refill with fresh water. And what was the purpose of the structure? This is some debate. Some archaeologists have proposed several possible interpretations. A public path for the people is one interpretation, and a path for the royal family only another interpretation. Third one, it could be used for the religious rituals. Okay, the first interpretation is now ruled out because it turns out that in this city most houses had individual bathroom. Correct? In detail, while we are studying about the houses, எல்லா ஹவுஸ்லயும் ஒரு open well இருக்கும். Okay, if they are having the open well, then they can take bath from their open well. No need to go for the common place to take bath. அதனால first reason, first interpretation we can strike out. Second and third we can consider. It might be for the royal family. If, for example, in the medieval period or the ancient period, the king, the emperor, in their palace, they had a separate like we can, in the modern name, we can call it swimming pool. Okay, but as another one interpretation also giving the valid reason, as it is having smaller rooms in the are surrounding the walls, there might be used for the common people to take the after taking bath to exchange the clothes. அதனால இது ரிச்சுவல் பர்பஸ் தான் வச்சிருக்கலாம் அப்படின்ட்டு ஒரு இன்டர்பிரேஷன். And now, and water management. Already I said no. Another one is better water management. The Harappans gave much importance to water management and cleanliness. They often had a separate area for bathing in their homes. They were connected to the larger network of drain, which generally ran below the street and took wastewater away. இதுதான் நம்ம nowadays in the cities we are using this method of drainage system. In Mohenjo-daro, people drew water from the hundreds of wells made of bricks, but in other region it may have been seen from the ponds, okay, nearly streams or human-made reservoir. The human-made reservoir, so you must it must be strike in your mind is a Dolvera. Okay, and in that the largest reservoir measured around 73 meters in length in Dolvera. At Dolvera, at least sixth largest reservoir built with a stone or even cut into rock. Most of them were connected through underground drains for efficient water harvesting and distribution. எப்பலாமே கொஸ்டின்ல வாட்டர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ரிலேட்டடோ இல்ல வாட்டர் ஹார்வெஸ்டிங் ரிலேட்டட் கொஸ்டின் இருந்தனா it talks about Dolvera. ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோ. What did the Harappans eat? என்ன சாப்பிட்டாங்க? The Harappan created many of their settlement along the banks of the large or small rivers. It's a logical choice because of the agriculture and enriched soil or fertile soil. So archaeological findings have shown that Harappans grew cereal like barley, wheat, and some millets, and sometimes rice. Okay, in addition to pulses, some variety of vegetables also they were grown. So they were also first in Eurasia, Europe, combination of Europe and Asia, to grow cotton. Now let's go. Which they used to weave into the cloth. So they made farming tools, including plough. This is a wooden plough, which was found in the Banwali in, not wooden plough. It's a small clay model of the plough found in Banwali in Haryana. And the Harappan also domesticated some animals and for meat consumption and fished both in the river and the sea. And some cooking pots they excavated. The cooking pot will come traces இருக்கு, சின்ன சின்ன மார்க்கிங் ஆர் கரைகள் இருக்கும்ல, அந்த கரைகள் அதை வந்து எக்ஸ்கவேட் ஆராய்ச்சி பண்ணும்போது some dairy product they used. Okay, turmeric they used, ginger they used, and banana they used. Okay, so these are all excavated. Then the brisk trade, the Harappan were engaged in the trade activity. So here not that much, but anyway, trade related to trade we will study later. And these are the beads, carnelian stone, we will call it carnelian stone. The Harappan beads, red in color, is a type of stone, colorful stone, and these were found in the Susa. It is in present day Iran. And this comb is made up of ivory comb. And here some important point. Okay, the coastal is Gujarat and Lothal pati some points. Lothal, a small settlement in Gujarat, has surprisingly huge basin measuring 217 meters in length and 36 meters in width. The length is just like a little more than that of 2 football grounds. This basin must have been the dockyard. Okay, அதாவது கப்பல் கட்டும் தளம்னு சொல்லுவோம்ல, dockyard, and used to receive and send boats. So dockyard vanda, that is lothal, and water harvesting and water conservation, Dolavera. There in a major important cities in Gujarat is Dolavera and Lothal. So this is that dockyard in the Lothal. And one more, they had a seal. Some seals are there. Seal and a muttirai. The மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்டோன், பீஸ் ஆஃப் ஸ்டோன், அதில் வந்து நிறைய எழுதியிருக்கும் இது என்ன பர்பஸ்னு. ஆக்சுவலி த ரைட்டிங், ஆல் த ரைட்டிங்ஸ் ஆர் இன் த பிக்டோரியல் ஃபார்மட், படம் படமா இருக்கும். ஓகே, பட் அரௌண்ட் more than 400 letters are there. More than 400 letters. ஆனா இன்ன வரைக்கும் we could not able to decode, we could not able to decipher. Okay, and generally made up of அது என்ன ஸ்டாட்டிக் ஒரு மெட்டீரியல். ஸ்டாட்டிக் ஒரு சாஃப்ட் ஸ்டோன். ஓகே, அந்த சாஃப்ட் ஸ்டோனை வந்து பவுடர் ஆக்கி அதை குழச்சி வச்சு ஹீட் பண்ணனா ஹார்ட் ஆயிரும். அது மேல அச்சு மாதிரி வச்சு எழுதி முடிச்சிருது. ஓகே, தமிழ்ல சொல்ல போனா மாவுக்கல்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. நல்லா கிரைண்ட் பண்ணி அதை குழச்சு என்னென்ன ஷேப்புக்கு வேணுமோ அந்த ஷேப்ல வச்சுட்டு அதுல என்னென்ன எழுதணுமோ அதை அச்சு மாதிரி போட்டுட்டு then heat பண்ணியாச்சுன்னா it become harder. Okay, so in Harappan civilization, whatever the seals were found, these were made up of statite. The purpose enna appadina, for trading purpose. Many seals were found in Mesopotamia and other regions, Sumerian region. So they measured only a few centimeters. Okay, these are all the different type of seals. So these are the letters. See, சம்பந்தமே இல்லாம இருக்கும். மீன் படம், எல்லா படமும் இருக்கும். Okay, and Harappan showing this is unicorn and a bull, a horned tiger, and one more seal, the famous seal in the Mohenjo-daro, the Pasupati seal. And these are the copper mirror, I think. Sorry, bronze mirror. Okay, bronze mirror. These are the weights used by the Harappans, stone weights, and bronze chisel took plus Dolvira, and a game board from the Dolvira. இதெல்லாம் ஹைபன் போட்டு எழுதிக்கோ. And a terracotta vessel. Terracotta சுடு மண் இருக்குல்ல, அதுல பண்ண vessel about 400 from Karnapura in Rajasthan. And Harappans designed many games and toys to keep both adult and children amused to engage. And other material excavated tools. This statues, some historians says it's a priestly king. Some historians interpreted he may be a king. Okay, கொஞ்சம் பேர் இது பூஜாரியா இருக்கலாம், கொஞ்சம் பேர் அரசனா இருக்கலாம். ஆனா when we start in depth about Harappan civilization, there is no king type of administration there. And this is one symbol, swastika symbol, I think, right? Swastika symbol. And this is, I said, no, a Pasupati seal surrounded by the powerful animals, and a person was sitting in a yogi position. And this is the one bronze statue. Okay, around 10.8 centimeter height. Okay, and which was found in the Mohenjo-daro. See, and this is one fertility god or a female. And one story in the school you might have heard, kaka vandu thanni kudikiradhukku kallalli potu kudikkala. So this was drawn in one of the pot. Okay, it's a story of the thirsty crow who finds a clever way to drink water at the bottom of the pot. Idu inga Lothal they got this one. So this is what all about. So dancing the end or new beginning. Around 1900 BCE, the Sindhu-Sarasvati civilization began to fall. Many reasons are there. Okay, and the flood வந்துருக்கலாம், இல்லைனா Indus River might have changed its course, and some invasion took place. Foreign invaders they might have, or around drought வந்துருக்கலாம். அதனால people might have moved from the Indus இருந்து அப்படி Ganga plain வந்துருக்கலாம். These are the various reasons were given by the historians for the decline of Harappan civilization. And some of the important features, there was no warfare. Like Harappans do not seem, அதாவது எங்கேயுமே war related weapons not found. அதனாலதான் என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா இந்த Harappan civilization வந்து peace loving civilization or peaceful civilization சொல்லுவாங்க. Okay, some more points also I will add up in the offline class. Okay, there is no, they do not know about, no knowledge about iron, and no temple anywhere in the Harappan civilization, no temple. Okay, and no warfare material, and no idea about a horse, no idea about horse. And two factors are currently agreed. First, a climatic change. In the climate, this is what some of the historians they accepted. That recently, about 5 years before, the IIT Kanpur scientists, they mentioned on of the research paper, the decline of entire Harappan civilization is due to the continuous around 900 years of drought. Okay, if we are in Chennai, the Chennai la vandu 2 years, 10 years up to 50 years there was no water at all, then automatically we have to move from this place to where the water is available. Okay, so our 20 years okay, ana 900 years there was no rain in the 5000 years before, means people obviously they will left that place and they might have moved to other water bodies available like Ganga river, இங்க கீழ நர்மதா தப்பி இந்த மாதிரி இங்க வந்திருக்கலாம். This is one of the valid reason they give. Second reason, அப்புறம் drought எதனால வரும், that obviously we know due to reduced rainfall. Second reason they say the Sarasvati river dried up in the central basin. Suddenly cities around the Sarasvati river like Kalibangan, Banavali were abandoned, விட்டுட்டு வேற எங்கேயா போயிருக்கலாம். So these are the various reasons for the declination of the civilization, this Indus civilization or Sindhu-Sarasvati civilization. I think this is sufficient today, but once again you read it. Okay, before bed or tomorrow, before the next class, you read it once and please take notes. Mobile particular matter nenichidada. Anyway, you have to make the notes before you are going to appear the prelim. இல்லனா மறுபடியும் ஏதாவது கோச்சிங் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் வச்சுட்டு அங்க உட்காந்து நீ படிச்சிட்டு இருக்க. அதுக்கு பெட்டர் யூ டேக் நோட்ஸ். இப்பவே கொஞ்சம் டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிக்கோ. தட் இஸ் பெஸ்ட் மெத்தட். இதுல ஏதாவது டவுட் இருந்தா கேளு. அதர்வைஸ் we can wind up. ஏன்னா நெக்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ் ஆன்வர்ட்ஸ் எவ்ரி சாப்டர் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். நவ் டுடே ஹராப்பன் somewhat ஒரு 20% of the point we have discussed. Next chapter again if you want Vedic and other. Okay, so tomorrow also we are having class, so attend the class regularly. Maximum will complete the entire new and old NCERT through online. Okay, thank you then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.